All right, I just came across this video of the former commander of the USS Cole, and he's speaking on what would bring the Iranian regime to its knees. So let's see what he has to say. I'm sure there's a bunch of propaganda and brainwashing going on in his thoughts, but let's give it a shot.
So our next guest was the commanding officer of the USS Cole when an al-Qaeda terrorist bombed the destroyer in Yemen more than 25 years ago, killing 17 American sailors. Retired Navy commander and national security analyst Kirk Lippold is kind enough to join us now. Kirk, first off, thank you for your service to this country. Happy New Year, and thanks for coming on the program today.
Oh, thank you, Bill, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you. So we saw President Trump say in that Truth Social post, which has a lot of people talking today, that the U.S. is, quote, locked and loaded and ready to intervene. What do you think he means by that, and what would U.S. intervention look like?
Well, I think right now, President Trump making that statement is somewhat unique because it's the first time that America has really backed it. When you look back in history, when this whole revolution started in 2009 in the Barack Obama administration, that president was absolutely silent in lending any support to the Iranian people.
I don't know if it's backwards or what, but look at this from Press TV, man. It says, when Grok was asked to remove the flag of a country responsible for killing innocents worldwide. Iranian flag, American flag. It removes the American flag. When Grok was asked to remove the war criminal. Which, I mean, I guess is factually correct. Like, what war crime has he committed? I know Netanyahu has committed war crimes. He's committed atrocities just to stay in power so he doesn't go to jail. And not looking too good for him, but let's get back into this, man.
This is different because we're essentially saying we're going to back what you do. The change in regime has to come from the Iranian people. And as Lucas pointed out in the previous report, look at their economy. It is literally staggering. What would you think if your currency lost 40% of its value in 1 year here in the US? People would be in an uproar. This is a problem that has literally been building for years. They have water problems. They have economic problems. And when it comes to the oil,
people would be in an uproar, but would they actually do something about it here? That's the thing. Like, would Americans actually do anything? And if they did, it wouldn't be constitutionally okay. It wouldn't be right, because that's not tyranny. That's not going against anything. That is just our country's getting hit with sanctions. Our inflation is going through the roof. It's the desert and we have a shortage of water. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know.
They right now are unfortunately still being able to get 2 million barrels a day out of the country, and that's what sustains the regime. If you start squeezing the
He's saying, unfortunately, they're able to get these many barrels of oil out of the country. Like, bro, if they weren't able to do that, the people would be suffering more. Like, do you people really want your regime change that bad that you will let all of these people suffer so you can get it? Like, like, I don't get it, bro. Like, I really just don't understand why people hate certain countries so much. Like, they just feed into the propaganda so much. It's like, what do you honestly hate them for? What do they do to you, or that affects you, or that threatens you? Nothing.
Oil, that will bring their economy to its knees. If you really want to take action, that's where President Trump should focus.
We have about 40 to 60,000 American troops in that Middle Eastern region, and there's a senior Iranian official who's now threatening to target our soldiers if the U.S. intervenes here. Part of what that official says is, quote, in an X post, the disrespectful president of America should also know that with this official admission, all American centers and forces across the entire region will be legitimate targets for us in response to any potential adventurism. Iranians have always been united and determined to act in the face of an aggressor enemy. Commander, we know that Iran is serious. They've targeted U.S. troops before. It was just this time about a year ago when those Iranian-backed militias launched a drone attack against the Tower 22 garrison in Jordan and killed 3 American soldiers. What should the U.S. be thinking right now if they are considering getting involved in Iran?
Well, right now, every single one of the bases and American troops in the Middle East are a legitimate target for Iran. That's what they are going to look at shooting if we decided to engage militarily. The issue that you're really going to have is every one of those bases should be taking the precautions necessary, standing up force protection, and making sure that they are ready for any inbound attack. It's somewhat funny that Iran sits there and says, oh, this is U.S. adventurism. Well, who's the #1 state sponsor of terrorism that has sponsored Hezbollah, Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad throughout the region, destabilizing it? It's Iran.
They are literally crazy. They are talking about like them saying something back to a threat. Like, you threatened them. They did not threaten you. It's not the other way around. They do not want to go to war with America. They do not want war with us. When the people in the streets, which, I mean, you're talking about the regime and not the people, but people in the streets chant death to America and all of this, when they're not actually saying they want our country to die. They want our foreign policy to die. They want the things that are destabilizing their country to die. They want that to be gone. And they're saying right now, this man just said that Hezbollah, Hamas, Palestinian Jihad, and I think he said one more group, have destabilized the region. Those entities have not destabilized the region. Those entities exist because of destabilization that goes on in the region that is backed by Israeli and America entities, like what Israeli and American entities. That is what's destabilizing the region. Israel and America destabilized the Middle East. And then when these resistance groups pop up and start fighting back, they get labeled as terrorist groups, even though they're not really committing acts that are worse than you're committing. They're responding to you, and you're acting like you're responding to them, but they would have never been in a threat in the first place if you did not do something to them in their country first. They wouldn't exist. Like, all of these groups that were just named exist because of Israeli and American intervention.
So when you look at adventurism, it really starts with them, and the United States is merely reacting. We're defensive in that nature. Israel has obviously felt that.
How are they reacting? Every group he just named is a reactionary force. They're all responding. Just because some Zionist in American government went on a piece of paper and wrote down this group is a terrorist organization does not make them that factually on the global scale. Yeah, a lot of other countries follow suit because we're the world's quote unquote superpower. So they just follow behind whatever we say, but that doesn't make it true. If I say the sky is, if the sky is green tomorrow, then that doesn't make the sky green. If Trump tomorrow says, I'm signing the executive order, the sky is now green, that doesn't make the sky green. So, I mean, these people are just full of hate and propaganda, and they just don't know what they're saying.
Wrath, and they reacted as well. So I think at the end of the day, the United States is going to take an appropriate defensive posture toward Iran, but try and create the conditions for the Iranian people to stand up and look at the government. The religious leader, the Ayatollah, has been quiet. Time for him to either be going away and the Iranian people to get freedom.
Commander, we got about a minute left here. In your opinion, how did Operation Midnight Hammer change the game? I mean, the Iranians have to know at this point, even though President...
Bro, the Iranians have freedom. The only thing holding them back is Israeli and American intervention and these sanctions. If they did not have all these sanctions, they did not have the Israelis and Americans getting in their way, they would be a flourishing country. And that's what the West is so afraid of. They do not want this regime to flourish at all. They don't want them to be successful. They don't want them to be loved by their people. They don't want patriotism to go on in these countries. That's the problem in America and the West. That's what they look at.
Trump is putting out a Truth Social post. He very likely means what he says if he's going to consider attacking Iran. Your thoughts?
Well, when you look at that operation, it was incredibly successful. Probably one of the best military operations that we have seen here in the U.S. in literally decades. The precision, the accuracy, and the goals that were achieved.
Operation Midnight Hammer, if I'm not mistaken, is when they bombed Fordo. They were not successful at anything. They didn't do anything. They bombed the site after they already removed the uranium. No uranium was destroyed in that bombing. Nothing went wrong for the Iranians in that bombing. I mean, yeah, they're down a facility, but they're already in the works of making a new facility. And if I'm not mistaken, they were already in the works of making a new facility before that. So they're just going to transfer all of their uranium to a different spot, and they're going to transfer the centrifuges if they can. If not, make new ones, and they're back in business. They don't have a nuclear weapon. They weren't at weapons grade yet, but they were what you call in a threshold state. So they could make weapons grade, but they're not. They're trying to give a warning, like, we do not want to do this, but if you force us into doing it, then that is what we will do. And you notice how, like, we don't really fuck with North Korea like that because they have a nuclear weapon. Like, once you're a nuclear superpower, it's different terms for you and your country. It's different negotiations. It's different things that go on. I'm pretty sure North Korea, in the eyes of America and the West, is way worse than Iran will ever be. That is completely locked down in a different way. I'm pretty sure it's the only country that's locked down in that way in the world. And you don't see anyone trying to do anything about North Korea at all.
Absolutely hit Iran where they needed to be in taking down their nuclear program. The problem you have today is that in violation of United Nations sanctions, Iran continues to build their ballistic missile capability. They are continuing to try and pursue a way to...
Their ballistic missiles program isn't in violation of anything. That's a lie.
To enrich uranium to get a bomb. It is not for peaceful purposes, and the United States needs to be calculating, doing operational planning, and be ready.
We're forcing them in the position, like I just said, to have to make that bomb. We're threatening their sovereignty.
Should Iran decide that they are going to try and do a breakout and react to the fact that the regime is falling and being taken over by the Iranian people.
All right, got to leave it there. Commander Kirk Lippold, thank you so much for your time and for your insights today.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, this guy is just a shill. Like, he's a shill. He's just saying the regular Western propaganda points. I don't think he's saying anything of substance. And he's also lying. Like, he's being dishonest to the fullest degree. And that's what happens in the West. Like, it's ran by them boys. The Zionists have a strong control over a lot of things that go on in the West, and people act like that's not true or it's anti-Semitism, but nothing anti-Semitic about it is true. It's a fact. Why else would we be involved in any of this if it wasn't for Zionism? We wouldn't give a fuck about Iran if it wasn't for Zionists. We wouldn't give a fuck about the Middle East if it wasn't for Zionists. 9/11 would have never even happened if it wasn't for Zionists. I mean, it's in the letter to America, it says things about our support for Israel and Zionism and destabilization of the region. I mean, a lot of things wouldn't have happened. USS Cole bombing, a number of things would never have happened if we were not supportive of Zionism. But that's all I have for this one. Like, comment, subscribe. Kumo DTV everywhere. Kumo Cast on YouTube. I'm out of here.